And we are live. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to an Understanding E Mastermind. I am your host, Dave, and yeah, it's just me again this week. Matt is away on holiday. Like I think I mentioned last week, he managed to book a last sort of minute trip in along with the kids before they have to go back to school. So he should be back with us next week. And yeah, this week you are once again stuck with me. So apologies for that. We are live. So if you look over to your right-hand side of the screen, you should see a live chat box. If you're on an app, or if you're using an iPad or a phone, if you scroll down, you should see the box there. You can change it says top chat, but if you go to live chat, there's a little drop down. You'll be able to keep up to date with all the chat that is going on in there. Again, feel free to say hi. Nick, good morning, good afternoon, sir. Hope you are well. We're not stuck there. Well, that's very kind. Thank you. So yeah, and as you can probably see, I'm actually excited because I've got my, like I said, the house sale I went through. Hassan, nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. The house sale I went through, and I've managed to set up my proper setup again. So I've got 2 monitors. It's brilliant. Kevin, thank you so much for joining. Hello. So yeah, this is nice. I feel spoiled again. I've got a live chat over here. I've got you here. I've got the topic which I should be talking to you about today somewhere in all these tabs. So yeah, this came about due to today's topic. Let's introduce that properly. Today's topic is the 3 personas that I was going to say need, but it's basically the 3 personas that you have when running an online business, an e-commerce business, whichever way you want to look at it. And it's the different aspects of these 3 personas which you need to be aware of and utilize them at different times in order to see the greatest success. Now, all this will make much more sense as we go through today's webinar. And it's actually a topic that I was in a meeting with the American education company that I do some work for on Monday night. And it was actually a conversation I had with the CEO there. And it was very interesting. It was one that I thought he was trying to get his, obviously he knows that I run businesses online and have the entrepreneur mindset, and how can we bring educators in to try and explore their more entrepreneurial side of their psyche, and ultimately to see if we can encourage it, and why you do need to encourage it, but why also you wouldn't want to be 100% entrepreneurial in the business, because then it just wouldn't really work unless you had a lot of money to throw at it. So let's get started and look at the 3 sort of personas that we'll be talking about today. Now, these personas are actually featured in I'm just looking to see if I've got that paper. It might be in storage. Yeah, I don't think I've got it here. The 3 personas that this is based off today, it's going... I'm going to say, if you can guess where these come from, or if you can let me know in the chat the where you think this is sort of referenced from, where this concept comes from, you win a prize. I'm not sure what the prize is, but if you could let me know, I will be super impressed, because it's not a new book. It's been around for quite a while. And like I said, I will be impressed if someone can guess where these are actually coming from. So, with that said, the 3 personas that we'll be talking about today, you have the entrepreneur persona, you also have the manager persona, and you have the technician persona. So the argument is that we all have all 3 of these personas, these personality types within us, all most likely in different sort of percentage scales. But it's the idea that you need this split of the 3 in order for your business to sort of reach its maximum potential. And it's an interesting concept because a lot of people will, and they are them, they have them, but they are maybe not aware that certain things that they do or certain tasks that they take out throughout the day are actually being completed by these different personas. And if you're watching this, hit like if you haven't liked already, just because I asked nicely. So yeah, let's break it down. So you've got your entrepreneur persona. Now let me just find the slide that I am looking for, just to sort of break down what we're looking at here. Where is it? It was over here a moment ago. It's on one of these pages. Yeah, so breaking it down, the entrepreneur supplies the vision for the company. The vision, like from when you started your business, wherever it was, the entrepreneur persona within you was the one looking at the big picture. He was looking at, right, in 5 years, 10 years, it will be this big, and we'll be doing this much, and it will be amazing. And then your sort of manager, he was the one who started to put processes and systems in place, and how he was sort of working in the sort of day-to-day and how all that fits in. And then you've got the technician, who you sort of require from the very beginning in order to start building. He's the one who is actually looking at right, this is the vision. How are we going to make the vision happen? What needs to be put in place in order for this vision to become a reality? So you've got the three: the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician. Just checking the chat. Nobody has guessed yet where this is coming from, which is good. I will let you know at the end what I'm talking about. And yeah, it's definitely a recommended read. Now, the entrepreneur aspect of it, like I said, you need that in the beginning. That is ultimately, where a lot of the drive will come from. But the entrepreneur pretty much lives in the future. He's not worried about the right now. He's looking ahead. And that's great. You always want to be looking ahead, looking at what the opportunities, the threats are in the future. And that is largely what your entrepreneur will be doing. He is more like the creative personality. He's the one who wants to try and make something out of nothing. He's the ideas guy who's trying to bring stuff to life. He's also our control freak. He's the one who wants to have control and make things how he wants it, or she wants it. But again, I'm using he because I'm talking about me, but this obviously works for females as well. Please excuse the pronouns. Now, one of the key things about an entrepreneur is he does sort of thrive in chaos. He thrives in a chaotic environment, and that's something which I certainly seem to do. When everything is messy, when everything is a little bit chaotic, that's when I do my best work. If things are nice and relaxed, I tend to get complacent and bored. Like, for example, today I was so late getting this webinar, upload. I usually like to give you guys an hour's notice. I ended up giving you 5 minutes notice. This was the link and the title, purely because I had 3 different things that needed to be done for 3 different businesses today. And this being one of them, but it took I had 5 minutes before the deadline before it got done. That's a great example of me. Kevin, absolutely, you got it. It's the E-Myth. It is the E-Myth. Top marks to Kevin. In fact, one of my favorite quotes is from Michael Gerber, who is the author of the E-Myth. And he says that if your business depends on you, you don't own a business, you have a job. And it's the worst job in the world because you're working for a lunatic. So I love that quote. It's one of my the favorite ones from the E-Myth. And then, like I said, so that's the entrepreneur. He's the crazy, chaotic one. And like I said, we've all got it. If you're in this mastermind, you're in this webinar right now, you definitely have that entrepreneur inside you. He created something, you've built something, you're running a business. It all started deep down from that entrepreneur inside you. You then have the manager. Now, the manager is probably the one aspect and the whole point of this right now is to try and get you thinking about what does your three sort of split look like. You know, what sort of percentage is entrepreneur, manager, technician. And by reading this book, it became apparent to me that I am probably far too much entrepreneur. I would probably benefit from being a little bit more managerial, a little bit more technical in other aspects of the business. Mike, good. Thank you for joining us. Sorry, just jumped in the chat there, Mike. Thank you for joining. Kevin says psychology is very important in knowing yourself and also knowing how to sell to customers. That is very true. And I think it all boils down to self-awareness. Knowing if you know that deep down you're not a great salesperson, it's not something you enjoy doing, then that awareness of going, right, yeah, that's not what I am. Then, you know, then it's time to look at hiring a salesperson. You know, but the psychology behind that is very, very curious. Yeah, so going on to the manager, obviously we've got the entrepreneur. He works very much in the future. The manager tends to work more in the past. So he is sort of pragmatic. He likes order, and like I said, this is the side of me which is probably the lowest. Where the entrepreneur sort of thrives in chaos, the manager really likes control and order and status quo and things to work nicely and properly. And the way that, like I said, we say the manager works in the past because he looks at how things have worked and builds systems and programs and things around that. And the reality is, without the manager, without putting systems in place, without putting processes in place, you likely wouldn't have a business. Unless your business was solely on being a personality without having tutorials or systems or processes in place. You know, the manager part of you is the one who's put your email autoresponders in place or your segmented lists, or he's the one who told you that using Magento and M2E Pro was a good idea because now you can manage all of your processes from one place. That was the manager saying, we need to make this work in a systemized way as efficiently as possible. The entrepreneur was too busy going off thinking, right, let's go make some more product lines. Let's go and expand the product range. You know, the manager is the one going, yeah, but we need to deal with this right now in order to make sure that the entrepreneur's vision comes true. And Michael Gerber says in the E-Myth that it's the tension between the entrepreneur's vision and the manager's pragmatism that basically creates this perfect synthesis that allows great work to happen. And then we've got the third one. We've got the technician. And the technician is the doer. And the technician is the one who gets involved. He's the one who gets hands-on. And that is, I know we've spoken a lot previously about how we want to try and remove ourselves from the business as much as possible, which is true. But to an extent, especially in the early days, you need to be involved. You need to be the one getting in, you know, getting hands-on and building the business, you know, at times when there's no one else there to do that. So again, if we were saying the entrepreneurs in the future, the managers in the past, the technician is the one who is in the present. He's present day doing things that need to be done. He's probably the one that likes to check off lists. He's the one who likes to have a to-do list and to check it off and make sure everything is running as it should. He's the technician side of you. He's the one who isn't actually interested in the future. He just wants to get today's job done in the most efficient way possible, and he does it by actually just doing it himself. It's to the point where both the entrepreneur and the manager get in the technician's side of you's way. The reality is that we all have elements of these three personas in us. As I said at the beginning, the entrepreneur is the one who led you to set up the business. He's the one who made you say yes, made you take that leap in starting a business, and you had that vision of what it is you were going to build. The manager is the one who was putting the systems in place, put your whether your pick, pack, and dispatch process in place, your your multi-channel software system, your email autoresponders. He's the one who's basically building the systems to make sure that everything runs as smoothly as possible. And then the technician is the one who actually gets hands-on and does the day-to-day job. So whether that be answering your emails, whether that be you marking things as pick, packed, and dispatch, whether that be going picking items from your warehouse, whatever it is, all three of them play a role in your everyday life. And like I said, the key to today's webinar is realizing at certain times which one of these personas it is that you are currently using, which one of them is currently leading the way, and then asking the question, is this the right persona that should be attributed to this current task? Now, like I said, I was sort of sat thinking about today's webinar and what sort of percentage breakdown is me personally out of those three personas. Now, Michael Gerber states in the E-Myth that really your sort of ideal, a very good sort of business concept would be to have 33% of each. So basically a third. You'd have your pie chart would be split into equal thirds, like a Mercedes badge. But very rarely is that the case. And that led me to think about what my sort of breakdown is. And my breakdown would probably be sort of 60% entrepreneur, and then maybe 30% manager and 10% technician, or maybe 20-20 manager technician. Because like I said, I think so much about the future and what we could be doing and where the business should be going, and all the different opportunities and things that would give value, and the cool things which we've not done yet, and the other opportunities which we could be doing. I spend a lot of my time thinking about that. And then also, like, for example, when Matt and Helen are both away on holiday, I am now doing a lot of the technician things. So I'm doing the emails, I'm getting involved in the forums, I'm getting, anything that the team struggle with comes to me. And then the sort of the manager side of things, the systems are already sort of in place. So my manager doesn't really have to do too much as it currently stands. But I think there's an element that my three personas should be split differently. And that's something which, like I said, I was thinking about yesterday on the bank holiday Monday, and trying to think about what would be different if I could, or if I did. We absolutely can alter these. And sorry, I've just seen a chat from James. James, thank you for joining, sir. I've read in Duncan Bannatyne's autobiography I have a few years ago about the key to making a business grow is simply creating an efficient system that isn't relying on you. And that has stuck with me for years. The book is a great read too. Duncan Bannatyne is, whether you like him or dislike him, the guy made, you read his story, he started off, was it with ice cream vans, and ended up with like 7 ice cream vans, and then sort of got into property, or was it care homes? I can't remember now. But his story is a fascinating one. And then he basically lost it all. I can't remember, was it a divorce? I can't remember now what happened, but he lost a large part of his fortune, pretty much disappeared from the Forbes list. And then within a few years made it all back. And it's like, I guess the second time, a lot of people, his black book would be pretty good. He'd be able to open a lot of doors, but still, you have to admire, Duncan Bannatyne. He knows the formula, and I totally agree. And like I said, I think, James, we did mention this at the beginning. And let me just find that Michael Gerber quote. If your business depends on you, you do not own a business, you have a job. And it's the worst job in the world because you're working for a lunatic. That is essentially the same. It's like if your business doesn't work without you fully being in it every day, then you're not the business owner. You are an employee of the business. Kevin, I know my problem is I don't outsource enough and do most things myself. I'm slowly outsourcing more, but it's a control thing for me, so it's slow going. Absolutely. And this comes back to something that we've spoken about for years, is that as entrepreneurs, and not the entrepreneur persona as such, but just generally as someone who has You know, your business is your baby. You created it. You built it from the ground up. You built it from scratch. And then for you to have to give away responsibility or trust someone else with an element of your business, it's a big ask. But ultimately, it's hard. You could, I mean, I don't have children myself, as a lot of you guys know, but it's how I imagine that if you had a baby and that first time you ever leave it with a babysitter or you leave it with a friend or family member, you have to trust them implicitly, I imagine. And if you don't do that, then, you know, it's like you'll never leave the baby and you'll constantly have the baby, but then your life will suffer because you can't go out and do the things that you enjoy doing. So it's a weird analogy, but one which I think works. But yeah, I get it. It's a control thing. We talk about the superhero cape of entrepreneurs and how we all think that we can do the best thing for our business, even though, you know, we have the likes of Richard Branson telling us that, you know, hire people better than you. I trust computers more than people, so writing a script to automate is fine, but giving a job to a person. Well, I mean, if you can outsource to a computer and get a computer, this is where your manager, like I said, is looking at systems and processes and how can we build a system to allow the entrepreneur to go off and do and build these bigger things and look at the vision. But I think, Kevin, the key that we're talking about here is you need to take your technician and make him more of a manager. So or an entrepreneur, you need to let the technician wind his hours in a bit, let him, you know, stop getting so hands-on and actually look at how you can put processes in place to stop the technician having such a heavy workload. Because like I said, the end reality is that you just have a job. You're just working for yourself. You're not building your empire. You're not building the vision. Now, actually, I'll share with you the percentage breakdown that Michael Gerber states in the E-Myth. He actually says the typical business like split of the three personalities. Like I said, mine was probably 60, 20, 20. He says the typical business builder personality is actually 10% entrepreneur, 20% manager, and 70% technician, which, again, we can totally believe. And that's why myself and Matt made the outsourcing course, because we know, we get it. And don't get me wrong, in the first year or two of Understanding E, we obviously, when it started, we were like 100% entrepreneur. We had the idea, we had the vision, and then we literally turned into 100% technician, right? We have to now build the content, we have to create the content and build the website and get hands-on. And then we sort of, once I think January 1st, 2014 rolled around, or 2013, whatever. When that rolled around, it was a case of like, right, now we need like 30% manager to start building the systems and the processes, while still having 70% technician creating content. And then slowly, like I said, as the business grew, we brought in Adrian to do the video and audio editing. And that then released maybe 10, 20% to go back to entrepreneur mode. And as we started building more MailChimp and autoresponders and emails and a lot of the plugins which you guys don't see behind the scenes that run the UE website, we could start bringing that technician side down and throwing more into management and entrepreneur. And there's obviously, you're going to need to be a technician right at the beginning. You're going to pretty much need to be 100% technician. Once you've had the 100% entrepreneur idea, it's time to actually put it into place. And the vision is great, but without work, without hands-on work, nothing is going to come from it. And it is all about getting that split. And like I said, it's 100% dynamic. You know, there'll be some days where, Christ, one of your manager's systems breaks and the technician has to go and get hands-on and fix it. Or there might be other days where it's pretty quiet and you might find yourself with a couple of hours to actually think, right, how do we grow? How do we make 2019? How do we double our revenue in 2019? How are we going to do that? What does it look like? What do we think are going to be the big products in 2019? How can I take a product which I already have and make it better? How can I solve a problem in the market. So again, there's always interchangeability, but ideally you want that 33% split between all three personalities. Jim, good morning. Hassan, no outsourcing. I am building and learning an e-commerce business from Iraq. I love it. Hassan, I believe, I may be wrong. Like I said, I don't know much about Iraq's sort of infrastructure right now, but the Middle East as a whole is boom. It's set to be one of the next big e-commerce giant playgrounds. If anyone's been on eSeller Cafe last week, there was so much news coming out of India, especially. With both Walmart, Amazon, Alibaba, eBay actually came out of India, which is a strange one. But there's a lot of big moves going around, a lot of interest in Middle East and e-commerce. Obviously, we have Souk, which is now owned by Amazon I think that's in Dubai or Abu Dhabi. I can't remember. But yeah, Hassan, I love it. No outsourcing. I'm building and learning an e-commerce business. You'll get to a point where you may want to outsource, but at the beginning, 100%, you need to be building. Like I say, if you're just getting started, you are 100% in technician mode. You've had the idea, you've had the vision to start your business. Now you need to go make it happen. But yeah, like I said, if you can get hold of the eMyth, I think it's the eMyth Revisited. There's a link in the description down below. Click show more, and that'll give you'll have the link there. It's not an affiliate link, it's just a normal Amazon link. But yeah, try and bear in mind at different stages when you might need to sort of tweak your percentage splits, and there'll be a time when your technician needs to turn into a manager to start building some systems to release some of your time to then grow the business. James, how's the house sale going? Great. It was done on Friday. As you can see, I've actually set up I've got 2 screens again now, which is great. And yeah, I mean, the money's in the bank. And now it's a case of looking for somewhere else to live. Where that is yet, I don't know. There's talks of maybe even going traveling a little bit beforehand. We'll see what happens. But yeah, all done. It completed on the Friday. It was my birthday on the Sunday, so it was a very that thing had been driving me mad for about a month. So yeah, it's been a very relaxing sort of weekend, really, without that big weight lifted. Yeah, if you haven't hit like already, and let's have a look. Is there anything else that I've missed? Those are the 3 main things which I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Like I said, it came out of a talk with the education company that I work for, and I thought, yeah, there's a lot of, excuse me. Yeah, there was a lot of correlation between what we were talking about in terms of the education company and also what works in an e-commerce company as well. So yeah, no, very, very interesting. So like I said, eMyth Revisited. I remember reading this book, and I do have the copy. I think it is in storage. It's not here. It's just checking again. No. But yeah, definitely recommend picking it up. You can get the Kindle copy for not a lot of money. So yeah, that's yeah, welcome to the 30 Club. Yeah, exactly. I mean, everyone's saying, like, do you feel any different? No, I still feel like 19 in my head. Although I did do a video on my YouTube channel, The Mank Entrepreneur, last week. I think it was last Thursday. I put it live. I sat down the day before and was sort of thinking, like, what have I learned in my 20s? What has been like the key takeaways from what I learned in my 20s? And I think that made quite an interesting video. Probably not for anyone else, but for me, like, so being able to look back on that in the next 10 years will be curious. So yeah, welcome to the 30 Club. Doesn't feel any different. Yeah, other than, you know, I thought I set ambitious targets in my 20s. They just got a lot more ambitious in my 30s. Right. Well, with that said, guys, if you have any questions, now is your time to ask them. The chat is in the right-hand side. Click live chat and get involved. If you have any questions about your e-commerce business, about the current state of e-commerce, about whatever it is, and please let me know. If you, again, just to get involved with the chat. Kevin, the business book I learned a lot from is The Ferengi, Rules of Acquisition. Let me have a quick Google of that one. The Ferengi, Rules of Acquisition. It is a curious one. Oh, wait a minute. Is this real? A sacred? Is this an actual book, or is this some Star Trek thing? In the fiction, the rules of acquisition are a collection of sacred business proverbs. The ultra capitalist race as the Ferengi. I mean, I don't know if you're trolling me, Kevin, or if there is an actual, because I would be quite. There's a Wikipedia page. Is there a thing? Is this a thing? Or am I taking this too literally? Rules of acquisition. Oh, there's a wiki page. Once you have their money, never give it back. Never allow family to stand in the way of opportunity. Wow. Greed is eternal. That is true. A deal is a deal. Contract is a contract is a contract. Never place friendship above profit. Wow, these are some brutal business rules. Never make fun of a Ferengi's mother. War is good for business. Peace is good for business. Expand or die. That's quite a good one. Don't trust a man wearing a better suit than your own. Wow. Free advice is seldom cheap. The riskier the road, the greater the profit. There is funny because there's actually some very good points here. Some of them are just crazy, but I mean, treat people in your debt like family. Exploit them. Wow. Never have sex with your boss's sister. Yeah, that's a rule for life, I believe. Hear all, trust nothing. Sometimes the only thing more dangerous than a question is the answer. You can't free a fish from water. There's actually some very good sort of I'm not sure whether these are rules or not, but what is it? The official rules. Never be afraid to mislabel a product. Wow, that's yeah, that may be one of the controversial ones. That's actually pretty cool. Thanks for that, Kevin. Yeah, I'd heard of the Ferengi before, but I was never a huge Star Trek fan until one day I was when was it? A few months ago. I was looking through Netflix one night and Star Trek came. I literally started from the beginning. I was like, oh, it's actually pretty good. Take it with a pinch of salt, but very eye-opening. Yeah, I enjoyed it. There was some, you could see there's actually some serious messages behind a lot of them. Some of them were just funny, but yeah, no, it's very interesting, very interesting. So, with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's webinar. Something which, again, I tried to throw together. I said it's been a busy one today. Tuesdays are always busy, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Again, eMyth Revisited. Like I said, the chat that I had on Sunday about it made me want to reread the book. I remember it from, I think it was even earlier than UE days. I think it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago when I first read it. But yeah, definitely pick it up or give it a reread if you do have it, because I think it is definitely worth having a refresher every now and again. Trying to think if there's anything else to talk about. I don't think there is. I'm around next week. I'm back for Tuesday. I'm going away this weekend, but I'm back on Tuesday. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. Subscribe if you have not subscribed already, and hit that like button one more time. And yeah, I will catch you in next week's mastermind. Again, thank you everyone for joining. Thanks for getting involved. It's been a great chat. And I'm off to go and read the official rules of the Ferengi. So I'll see you next week. Thanks again, guys. See you then.